Hello and welcome to this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. I am your host, Christine Innes, and I'm super delighted to have the very beautiful Carrie Kwan joining me today. Thank you so much for being here.
Delighted to be here. I'm so excited too, Christine.
Oh, I'm so excited because we got to meet in person last week, which was so nice. And, I'm excited actually about this conversation because we're going to talk about a lot, obviously, about your journey, but also too about a really incredible event that you're putting on. So before we dive in, do you want to just sort of give everyone just a little bit of background about yourself and sort of what you do with Mums and Co and that as well?
Yeah, would be happy to. And I remember fondly our pickup in Brisbane. So, and I always remind people that Brisbane have some of the friendliest people. So, I always get offered a pickup from the airport, and I had the honour of travelling with you last time. So, great to be here. My name is Carrie. I'm the co-founder and managing director of Mums and Co. I am one of three girls raised by Malaysian Chinese parents who immigrated to Australia. I would probably say that I did have an education and family first upbringing. Dad was a business owner, so was my grandfather. I'm a proud sister, wife, and mum of two young boys. Curious about most things, always up for a good coffee and connecting people. And hearing their mumbition stories. So I started my working life in the corporate trenches. I began with Ernst & Young Management Consulting and had a few years there working in the corporate world, and then I moved to London and spent a couple of years, about 4 years there too, in professional services world. And then I caught the startup bug. That was when I had my first startup called Daily Addict. Must have enjoyed it because I've come back for more and perhaps jumped from a bit more of it was bootstrapped, which means, literally scrappy and doing, setting up in my home apartment and really sort of in the trenches there. But then spent a few years, had a baby, and then found that some things weren't quite working for me as a business owning mother. And that's when Mums & Co came about. So yeah, Mums & Co is a movement. We exist to power all women at all stages of motherhood and their business. We do it through an online membership which gives them access to upskilling and networking, events and resources, and really a like-minded movement who can help support you harmonise your ambition, your livelihood, and your well-being.
Yeah, and I am a really big fan. So I love what you're doing for Mums and Co. And I think it's one of those things when you're being, a mum and you're trying to juggle that, but then also trying to work out business as well. Like it's two full-time jobs that you are running hand in hand. So having a community and that behind you, it really is essential, I think, to be able to help not only just motivate you, but to inspire you by seeing all of the other mums and what we go through, on a day-to-day basis as well, just to be able to create a business.
There's so many parallels between business and motherhood, and sometimes there's a bit of an unsung journey, right? You've got your real family and you've got your business family, and both want your attention. And you said two jobs. I sometimes think it's 2.6
Yes.
jobs, and there are always these competing modes.
Yeah.
And you can't drop the ball really, especially if you're the only employee. If you're your sole trader or freelancer, it's sometimes you don't have another co-founder or another business partner or any employees to hand over to.
Yeah, and it is a struggle, and I don't use that word very lightly either, because I find that, people, sort of go, oh, it's a struggle, and they use it loosely. But when you're trying to juggle being a mum and even just, holding down a job. But when you throw in having a business as well, it does take it to another level, because especially, the solopreneurs, you do everything. You have to be the accountant, the marketer, the social media person, the branding expert. So you need to have your hands in so many different pies, but then also you're adding motherhood on top of that as well.
Yeah, and I think something like 80% of business mums across Australia are sole employ, like, they're doing it solo.
Yeah.
So I think it's an incredible brave step. When we did some research across Australia, almost interviewed 1,000 business owning mothers on their challenges and what they needed, and even what the typical business mum looks like. Not that we're typical at all. I think we're quite remarkable. Um, it's a they're taking a step into the unknown. They're very brave. They're literally starting businesses in fields where they've got no prior experience, but they've got passion. They've got purpose. They've got a huge need for flexibility, which they might not be getting in the corporate world or in any other sort of employment world.
Yeah.
So this whilst I think a lot of them are actually doing it because they want to, there are definitely some that are don't necessarily might not have been their first choice. So those and all of us really need to be supported when we make that leap,
Yeah.
because it is a leap into the unknown. You don't know necessarily who your customer is, or even your products and services. You haven't sort of fully fleshed out yet.
Mm.
Trying to figure out what the market is, and how big the problem is, and your price points. There's so many unknowns. So I think they're brave, and certainly to be acknowledged, but I think we need better support for them. So we
Yeah.
need to provide more upskilling, and we need to give them access to confidence and access to networking.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you find that when obviously, being an entrepreneur and, being a woman as well, I find that confidence is actually one of those key things that we do lack, because we're stepping into two unknown things. I remember being a mum and, I'm like, here's your baby. And you're like going, oh, okay, thank you very much. And it's like that with the business, like, here's your business. I'm like, okay, well, what do you need to do? Like, what's the first steps that you need to do? And what are some of the key things that you're finding that, especially as women and being an entrepreneur, that they really do need to have some, I guess, key foundations to be able to make it work?
Yes. And it is that conversation, what I need to be prepare for when I'm about to step into being a mum for the first time. I don't know if we're going to have long enough to cover that
Love
in our podcast.
feedback.
Look, I think if I could start it with maybe three, let's go with the rule of threes. It's a mindset, it's upskilling, and it's access to networks.
Yeah.
Networks. So, starting with the mindset, this is when we're really kind of interrogating and having honest conversations with yourself and with your, partner. Is this really for you? Because being a business owner, there's lots of high highs and lots of low lows and everything in between. And it can be incredibly rewarding and incredibly satisfying. But the days can also be long. It's a bit like motherhood again, parenthood. So, and I do always support your vision. I just want to make sure that you've thought it through, and maybe are aware of some of the realities. So it is starting with that mindset, and we kind of I'm interested in how people understand, um, what their goals are. Because there's going to be, we call it harmonizing ambition, livelihood, and well-being. So all those parts are really, really important to us. I feel like the ambition part is, it's what you call it, what lights you up, and what's your purpose and your why. And it's, you've probably studied and you've earned, your time, and you've got some, really valuable skill sets. So what your career ambitions are important. And then if you're looking at how you make a living, your livelihood, your family, you have those considerations, you've got bills to pay, all those factors, and how much support you're going to get,
Yeah.
during that process. So do you have a village to lean on? Do you have your which is, your partner and your husband and your community, um, to consider? And then lastly, it's your well-being. It's,
Mm.
are you physically, emotionally, spiritually, in that space, mentally in the space that you need to be in? So kind of having a look at all those considerations. And then I'd look at, I guess, the upskilling bit is, making sure that you've done your research, you've crunched the numbers, you've seen if there's a real problem that you're trying to solve, and it's a big enough problem to have a market.
Mm.
Um, and, trying to get your first 100 customers, and making sure that the numbers balance out. And then last, and I guess there's lots of other skills that you'll need along the way too. You'll become the bookkeeper and the marketer and the social media specialist, and um, all these sort of, the copywriter. You'll be doing all sorts of things in, that upskilling area.
Mm.
And then the last bit, which is, I think, the well-being. So making sure you have the emotional support around you again,
Yeah.
and some clear parameters or clear boundaries in place. So how are you going to work? Who do you call upon? Who are you going to dial? Who's the dial a friend when you're going through a rough patch?
Yeah.
Who's going to help you navigate through complex problems? And how are you going to grow your network? Because, those connections are really important when you're doing business, whether it's to find another collaborator or, like I said, just someone to lean on.
Yeah, yeah, and I completely agree with all of that. And I think, as I always say, if you go into business, it's the best personal development course that you will ever do because you will learn so much more about yourself as you grow and expand. Because you have to be in so many uncomfortable situations, and that's exciting in a way too, because you sit there and you're like going, oh, I have to go out. And especially say if you're an introvert, and then you're having them to go out and put yourself into public because you're, the business, that's a really key thing with it. And having the support around you, and, having someone that you can call with it. I always say you need a business buddy no matter what. Um, so, and always to look for somebody who, I guess, who sort of has followed that road. And that's why I really love what the Mums and Co community is all about, because everyone's either been through it or going through it at one stage. And then regardless of where your business is at, we all experience everything that you've just talked about.
Yeah, and I love your, the business buddy. You kind of want to have a co-founder or, business partner that you never had.
Yeah.
So it's really important. I think women actually, women are actually great. Have got lots of transferable skills, and they're able to problem solve, and they're able to communicate well, and they're able to see things from different perspectives, from a diverse perspective. Um, so yeah, I think that's a really important aspect to, find that advisory board
Yeah.
or find that other female founder, to lean on. We also have a lot of experts too. So if there's something, I think we have 45 experts now that you can just literally do the dial a friend with. So it's a half-hour session online, and you can work through a business problem or challenge and have some sort of coaching in that area. So yeah, I think it's really important, and women want to pay it forward too. We've got so many generous people, like yourself, and who are willing to be experts for other business women.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to give back. And that's one of the things that, when, I first started talking to you and your team and, learning more about like Mums and Co. And then obviously how I can give back, because I've been helped along the way. And, some of it has been, free things that people have offered to me, like coaching and that as well. But then there's also just the support that you get. So the opportunity for me to give back was like it was like a no-brainer, I guess. You just say, yep, okay, here we go, there's something that I can do. So I'm super excited to be, one of the mentors, and to help and support, people, and especially the mums in business wanting to expand and getting that global exposure and going, well, what do I do? And just to know that it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling right now, because we've all been through it at one stage.
Yeah, just to normalize it and have a sympathetic ear.
Yeah.
And I think, and just on your pay it forward, I think um, there's a lot of ways we can support. What I love about, the Mums and Co movement is that we know that, to invest in women, to support women-led businesses and ventures, we need to do a few things. We need to spend with them. And we need to, so that could be like time, which is
Mm.
mentoring or the coaching, or just being that guidance for them, or coach. It could be spending actual funds. So it's, investing in either their business or buying their products and services. And then it's around referrals, like, if referrals and making introductions. So if you've used a business or service, talk about it, share that. Or if you know that someone is in your network that could help them, make sure you introduce them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I try to make at least 3 introductions every week, for our members, and I would really love, if we all did that. I think we calculated even 100 women, you get 15,000 connections.
Yes.
On that,
Yeah.
and that's when the magic happens.
Yeah, and it is something that is actually quite easy to do. I'm a big believer in the connections, and I love, obviously supporting, mums in business. And the best thing that I can do is say, well, I'll come work with you because then I've used you, and then I can give you a personal referral. And I think that's, it makes it as well, because the product, the results that you're going to get, and therefore you can really wholeheartedly support them and give those genuine referrals as well, which I absolutely love. So I want to talk about the Be Empowered event that's coming up on the 2nd of June, which I'm really excited about. I'm actually excited because I get to be part of it and sort of be part of the Brisbane hub as well, so people can come along. We'll put all the details out there. But do you want to sort of talk a little bit about, this event and, what makes it so unique as well?
So Be Empowered is back for its 3rd year. It's an annual event which embodies all the values that Mums and Co has, and that's to help women harmonise their ambition, their livelihood, and their well-being. It's a day conference, but I would probably say we define a day a little bit differently sometimes as business owning mothers, right? Because we need flexibility.
Yes.
So we have it's a day conference. It has amazing speakers, business workshops, and opportunity for you to pitch your business. And we want this to be a day where you can really nurture, spend time on yourself. We're very good at spending time in the business, looking after everybody else, but we need to kind of take a step back sometimes and nurture our own mumbition. And mumbition is the unapologetic blending of motherhood and ambition. And this is the day for that. And we're a little bit, I think we're very excited. I often say that business doesn't suit business owning mothers. And that's because the business framework doesn't allow for the flexibility that we need. So we've tailored it specifically to her. She's time poor. So we've actually made the format of it in bite-sized chunks. So every session will only last for 20 minutes. There'll be a pre-recorded session, but then a live Q&A with the speaker, and then a business workshop, which also goes for 20 minutes. And that's when you can work on your business. You've heard some really inspiring stuff, then work on the business. we've also made it between the hours of 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock so that you can do the, if you don't have your co that day, you can do the drop-offs at school and the pickups later. So that's one of the other elements. The other element this year is that it's going to be a hybrid. So it's digital, and we'll have an in-person opportunity, because I think a lot of women are looking for opportunities to network again. When we visited you in Brisbane, we felt that real sort of energy that when, you meet face to face and you're able to connect in person. People are a bit Zoom fatigued as well.
Yes.
So, this is where we're excited about the hubs, and we've got them in quite a few locations now. So Brisbane, Logan, we have them in two places actually more places in New South Wales. We've got Sydney, CBD, Manly, we've Dubbo and Tamworth, and we'll also be in Melbourne. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's really exciting that, I can't wait to see, these women connect again.
Yeah.
It is a live stream, so you'll be able to obviously have your conversations, but watch the main conference during the day.
Yeah. And I'm so excited to, I guess help support it, and, be part of it as well. And I love what you are doing. And I just want to say thank you so much, because I think it's something that's so needed right now. When I think, especially, in the world, and, even if I just say here in Australia, that, we do crave that connection part, and getting people together that are like-minded, able to connect, but really support each other. And I feel like that support is something that you give, your team gives, and it's something that I thrive on, and it's what I give out to my team as well, just to say we need to support each other. It's always about uplifting, encouraging people. It's collaboration over competition as well, and I believe that your values are very much aligned to ours. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, Christine, we really are excited to do this with you, like standing by you. And the more you can do it, that's what we exist, And I think that concrete caring is really important. We're enabling them with the right skills, but also doing it in a way which makes sense to us. Like, we're reframing what business means.
Yeah.
We're using our own language and using empowering language. So, and our mindsets, and then the reality is just giving us the flexibility to do that. But and I didn't actually mention just the speakers. If I can just touch on the speakers,
go for it.
the subject's going to be really exciting. So we've got Turia Pitt, one of Australia's most recognised and admired people, humanitarian coach and athlete. She's going to be talking about her journey as a mum of two now, and then what she's done with Spend With Them, her market, her Instagram page that's helping small businesses. We've also got Grace Brennan from Buy From the Bush. So she's helped lots of small businesses affected by drought and bushfire. We've got Dr. Delia McCabe. She's going to be fascinating, her talk, because she's talking about the female stressed brain, and how nutrition can help you look after your brain. And Katrina McCarter. So she's going to be talking. She's an international speaker, author, and she'll be talking about how to market to mothers.
Yeah.
So, and then we've got lots of others. We've got another range of speakers. I'm going to be talking about pitch confidence. So, a really vital skill for all business owners. And then we have an opportunity. All the delegates will have an opportunity to actually pitch their business as well. So you can submit a 30-minute, I'd love that, video about your business, because we want to hear all about it and share it with our movement.
Yeah, that's so excited. Look, I am super excited about this event. I'm super excited about really supporting Mums & Co, and obviously being part of the partnership and that with you. So thank you so much for being here today and sharing all about it. We're going to pop all the links of when people will be able to reach out to you, how they can actually get in touch with Mums & Co, and also, most importantly, get a ticket to the event as well.
Amazing. Make sure you drop in if you're in Brisbane to visit Christine. we warmly welcome you there. Thanks so
Yeah.
much, Christine.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone for joining us for this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. I'm your host, Christine Innes. Remember to live life to the fullest every day and follow your passion. Love and light to you all.